Alright, so for the next part, we've got our pistons ready to go, the block's painted, it's good to go. So I'm actually going to start with putting the cam in first. The reason being is just because when the crank's in there, it might kind of be in the way. It's just easier if you have to maneuver or touch the camshaft at all. It's easier to access it without the crankshaft and the pistons in the way. So for this build, I'm going with the Big Mother Thumper cam from Camshaft. I hear a lot of mixed reviews about this thing. Some people say it gets good power, others just kind of made for noise, but you know what? We're going to find that out for ourselves. It does have a very aggressive idle. It is made to kind of make that, drag kind of sound. As always, comes with instructions. Make sure you read this, especially with a flat tapping cam. There's break-in procedures. It's not like a hydraulic roller where you just kind of start the engine and go. You can eat your cam very quick. Here it is. So as always, gonna wash the part first. This also comes with their own lubricant. And with this, all you're gonna do, you're gonna use this just for the lobes themselves. Here, take this out of the packaging. There we go. So the lubricant is actually just for the lobes themselves, as well as your distributor gear. Even just looking at it, I can see there's kind of some crud on this to begin with, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash it, and then we'll get to throwing her in the engine. There's our camshaft, all nice and clean. I've also dug out 2 bolts here. These are just going to go into the end of the camshaft. It's going to make it a little bit easier to handle, especially when applying the lubricant and also putting it into our actual engine block. But before we put it into the actual engine block, we got to do a little more cleaning. So we're going to clean just the cam bearings out. I mean, the block is pretty much clean, but hey, it's a brand new build. Can you really be too careful? So that's going to be the next step. Then it's time to lube her up and shove her in. Okay, now we have our camshaft all clean. It looks a million times better. So we're going to start with lubricating this before we put it in. We're going to use the Camshaft's Pro Cam and Lifter lubricant that came with the camshaft to lubricate the lobes, and also our distributor gear. And we're going to use this Permatex Ultra Slick engine assembly lube for the camshaft bearings. So let's just jump right into it. I don't know how much is actually in here. I've heard of some people kind of running out, so just want to make sure that every single lobe gets a little bit. Oh yeah, that's sticky stuff there. That's what you want. It's coming out pretty fast. It's making a big old mess. Now I've got all coating. I'm gonna just work my way back up. Doesn't look like I'm gonna run out of it here. Doesn't feel like it, so. Too much lube certainly isn't gonna hurt it, that's for sure. Again, it's very important with this being a flat tappet cam that, this will have an actual break-in procedure. So every little bit is going to help with that, and that obviously includes lubrication. And your first startup is very critical even for this type of cam. If you're sitting there and trying to start it and it's just not going, apparently that's enough to eat your cam lobes right off the bat. And you certainly don't want that, because these parts are not cheap, that's for sure. Look at that. Looks like there is enough. So now I'm going to just spread it. Bolts that have stuck into the end just kind of help me hold the cam even while I mix all the lubrication. Some guys like to put it in like bearing side at a time, they'll only lube up 4 lows, but I'm just gonna try and go for it all in one shot. Guess she'll either work or she won't. Of course, too, cleaning the cam helps with this stuff sticking onto it a lot better as well, which is another reason we do that. Again, anything we can do to try and combat failure, we're gonna, right? So there's that. Now I'm gonna use this again just for our cam journals, our cam bearings. Start at the top here. I've seen some guys just use this for their camshaft or other assembly lube. I've even seen some people use white grease, but if you don't use that packet that Comp sends, then you can't actually void the warranty if something does go wrong. I just look at it like, you know, they pack it, they have it for a reason. It's best just to kind of go with the manufacturer's guidelines for it. And they design the product, they probably know what's going to work best for it. Why chance new parts, right? Again, I don't really think there's such thing as too much lube. Now that we've got it all lubed up, we're going to go ahead and throw it into the engine. Now that our cam is all nice and lubed up, it's time to put it into our block. So I've cleaned out all the all the cam bearings, and I've also cleaned out the main bearings here because that's obviously going to be our next step once the cam is in. So we're going to go ahead, nice and easy, just put it in there. Now people always say that these are very delicate, and you know, to an extent they are, but they're also fairly resilient too. So I like to just, you know, go nice and slow. You can also kind of reach through there. This is why we're working upside down. Nice and easy, it's not a race. Just make sure everything goes in smooth, beautiful, just like that. This is what I was talking about. Some people will pause here and then lube up the cam lobes, but again, we just did it all in one shot. So we keep going. Again, nice and easy. You don't want to nick a lobe or one of the bearings either. Just kind of work cam the way through. Nice and easy. Now, as you could probably imagine too, with each of these, it's kind of wiping lubrication off of the cam. So I'm just going to put a little bit onto this last bearing here so he's not going in dry. Just so now I've got some actual lubrication on the bearing itself. Okay, and we'll continue. We're almost there. Just kind of keep an eye too. If you do see anything, you'll want to get that off. This is where too having those screws at the end of the cam is really helping me here. Maneuver, manipulate it. And just like that, she's in. Just check, make sure your cam spins nice and freely, which it looks like it is there. So I'd say we're in good shape, which means it'll be time for the next step, which is putting in our main journals. And we've actually got a stud kit, so I'm going to kind of show you how to do that too.